Good morning. This is the American Night here. We're just getting into work this morning. Lights just came on. I get here kind of early. It's 6 a.m. Eastern time. It's Friday, so I'm happy about that. Today is Friday, March 20th, 2026. I I don't know if those of you who may be paying attention to the financial markets here lately, has been volatile time, which is to be expected with everything going on over in the Middle East. Gold and silver prices have been falling. Oil prices have risen. Um, it's kind of hard to understand exactly why gold and silver are falling when they're typically a hedge against inflation. And right now we're seeing inflationary pressures, with the price of energy and everything going up. Um, it seems like it has a lot to do with interest rates. There's been some hope and anticipation that the Fed would continue to cut rates, but inflation is not cooperating, and there's a possibility. I don't think it's very likely that the Fed may be forced to raise rates instead of cutting them, and because of that, we're seeing gold and silver prices falling. Now, I do believe that a lot of that selling is paper gold and silver. I don't think people that are holding physical metals are selling anything. I have some of both. I have paper and physical. I'll tell you one thing. I'm not selling any of it. I've got about 25% of my retirement account in gold and silver. I'm not selling any of it. So, um, and I have a reason for that. My rationale is, until governments, and this is not just the United States government, this is global governments, until they start getting serious about their debts, there's absolutely no reason to liquidate gold and silver. In fact, I don't see any governments really getting serious about it. And once I see them starting to really take measures to deal with the debt problem, I see no reason to get out of gold and silver. So, um, if that time comes that I see governments becoming more serious about it, I'll let you know. But until then, I'm just going to keep stacking. You know, I don't intend to buy much more paper, gold and silver. Everything I'm stacking now is physical. Um, I've already decided that during the summer, I'll usually have my annual review here at work, and typically when I get a raise, I'll increase my 401k contributions. I'm not going to do that this year. I'm going to maintain where I'm already contributing a pretty healthy percentage to my 401k, my retirement plan here at work. So I feel comfortable maintaining what I'm doing there, but I'm going to take that raise and instead start buying up more hard gold and silver, maybe even some copper. I haven't decided about copper yet. Copper is kind of cheap. It's cheaper of the three, and that would kind of get to be. I don't think I would ever hold a lot of it, but it might be something I decide to add some of into. I do have some copper stock. I have some copper mining companies in my retirement savings, so I may just stick with that with copper. But gold and silver, I'll certainly continue to add some positions, physical metal into my holdings. That's I just don't see anybody getting serious about this debt problem, and the debt problem is getting to the point. We just crossed $39 trillion debt in the United States. I don't know if the government's going to be able to get out from under that. I really don't. I mean, just the interest payments alone on that debt is enormous. I mean, let's just say I think the bonds or treasuries are like right around 4%. So when you talk about, let's just call it 40 trillion on 40 trillion, you're talking what, about almost what be 1.6 trillion a year in interest payments. 150 billion a month. Is that right? I think I'm doing the math right in my head. But I just don't. I don't know, and that's why I think everybody should be continuing to stack. I'm gonna. I think the government is running out of runway before they're going to have to do something about this problem. They're going to have to cut government spending. They're just going to have to. I mean, and it's tricky because government spending makes up a significant part of our GDP, which I don't personally, this is my own personal opinion, I just don't think government spending should be part of GDP, period. I don't think it should be included in that. I think it should be private sector only that's included in that, because, it's government spending is just coming out of tax revenue, and it's just I just don't think that should be really included as part of GDP. Anyway, but it is. So if we start cutting government spending severely, we're going to see our GDP numbers fall. It's a tricky situation, and what I hate more than anything is that we're leaving this problem for our kids and our grandkids. That's, I don't think any parents want to hand this debt load in. And the thing is, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. We can raise a ruckus about it. We can vote. Unfortunately, we vote for people that say they're going to do something about it, and then they turn around and don't do anything but make it worse. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. The only silver lining to this whole thing is that the United States is not the only country in this predicament. Most nations have a significant amount of debt. Our main competitor in the world right now, China, they've got some significant problems. Their population is shrinking. India has overtaken them as the most populated country in the world. They're going to have some significant problems on the backs of their population decline. Their population is aging and declining. People aren't having as many kids. Of course, that's a problem here in the United States too. But we're just going to have to see how it all plays out. I'm turning 50 later this year. In August, I turned 50 years old. And I'm going to tell you guys, I have been feeling so tired and so old. I'm like, and I think a big part of it is I'm not exercising very much. I get up early, I come into work, I work, I go home, or and I'm always sitting, I'm always laying down. It's like I've got to get more active. I am planning a trip to Spain in 2028 to hike the Camino de Santiago, which is a 500-mile hike across northern Spain. And my fitness level, I don't know. I think I could probably grind myself through it, but I've got to make it a more enjoyable trip and an enjoyable hike. I'm going to have to start putting in some miles and getting my body built up for that. You're going to have a backpack on your back. I need to strengthen my shoulders. I need to strengthen my back, my leg muscles. All of that needs to be strengthened, and I've just got to start working on it. So that's in the cards here in the near future. I think getting more active and exercising more will lead me to feeling a little younger. So anyway, I'm going to start that process this weekend. I'm going to go in and get a full body workout tomorrow morning, and then for now, I'm going to try to have a full body workout on Saturday morning and Wednesday morning. So 2 days a week. That's just to kind of get myself going. once I've got a good routine regimen going that way, I think ultimately I'll probably go to a Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, 3-day a week routine, but we'll get there. Um, if I'm like you, I think most people, especially here in the United States, are feeling very burnt out. We're getting tired of working, and I know, we have to work. We have to be able to provide for ourselves, and I don't expect anybody else to provide for me. It's just we're burnt out. And I think that what the burnout is more than anything is that we work really hard. I mean, I'm here at 6 in the morning. I leave here at 5 in the afternoon, and then sometimes I'm door dashing in the evenings, and I'm, run 2 or 3 hours of DoorDash in the evenings, and I'm making progress. I have made some progress, but it seems like the progress is really kind of slow, and time is going by so fast. And I feel like I'm not really getting to enjoy life very much, and I have enjoyed I've had a lot of good memories in my life, things that I've really done, things that I've really enjoyed. But right now, it's just grinding every day, day in, day out, just grinding. And part of the reason why I'm doing that is so that I can retire at a decent age. I'm hoping to retire at 62, which is basically 12 years from now. I've got some work to do to get to that. I'm actually considering retiring in Spain. Part of the reason for that is the cost of living. The cost of living here in the United States is just nuts. I could move to Spain and probably live on about 50% of what I would spend here in the United States. They do require an income level of $2,800 a month for you to qualify for the retirement visa over there. 2,800 euros a month, which would be approximately close to $3,000 a month, and that's very doable. That's very doable. I've been looking at my projections and everything, and that's doable, especially if I go ahead and take Social Security at 62. I know, we're all worried about Social Security being there. It would stink if they cut it, which may happen, reduced benefits, but I have a hard time believing the government's going to do that, only because it would be political suicide. People would be so up in arms about that, and it's hard for me to imagine them doing that. They might raise the minimum age where you can take Social Security. Right now you can take Social Security early at age 62. I could see them maybe bumping that up to 64. We'll see what happens. And the reason why they're doing that is because people are living longer than they used to. When Social Security first came out, people didn't live much longer than 65. They typically passed on, 65, 66, 67 years old. But now people are living well into their 80s and even early 90s, and that's a big part of the reason why Social Security is not sustainable. People were living longer, and people stopped having kids, so there were fewer children, fewer people paying into the system. So it's a problem. Well, I'm gonna get going with my day here. I did make some tweaks to my retirement portfolio yesterday. I sold some positions, and I've entered some new trades to go in today. Again, not selling any of my commodity positions, but I am orienting my portfolio a little bit more toward dividend stocks. I sold off some individual stock positions that I had some gains on, and I'm just putting them more into dividend type funds, ETFs. Um, anyway, so I'm gonna get going. Y'all have a great Friday, and this is the American Night checking out.